Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Maz and today I'm in my second JBC outing. And in today's case, we are at British Motor Museum in Warwickshire. But really, the only reason I'm here is to see the new Type 00 in the museum. But otherwise, here's my F-Type, next to an XF, next to another F-Type, next to an S-Type, next to an XE, next to a later XE, next to an X300, and next to that an X350. Meanwhile, on the other side, another S-Type, another XF, an X308, which is basically a facelifted X300 distinguished by its sort of rounded off indicators, and instead of having a 6 or a 12 under the bonnet, it's got a V8, and this particular one is left-hand drive. Next to an F-Type, forgot the name of the colour, next to another X308, next to an E-Pace, next to a facelift 2nd gen XF, that's a Mocha, and that's another XF. Unfortunately, due to the music playing in the background, I was unable to record the audio, so here is an inaudible showcase of what was on display. There were XEs, XFs, XJs, XKs, F-types, even E-types, even XK120s, and in today's case, the theme was the XJS's 50th anniversary. As a result, there were a plethora of XJs on display by the entrance of the museum. JBC were also there with their display, and one of my favorites has to be the orange Project 8 that was parked by the JBC stand. Furthermore, there were also modified Jaguars as well, including the likes of Raptor and Vehicle Revolution. Furthermore, there were also cars that I recognized from Instagram and people who have never met in person before but have known through the internet for years. Whilst this was not my first time at a Jaguar Breakfast Club event, first time being in Haynes Motor Museum, this is my first time here at the British Motor Museum in Gaydon, Warwickshire, and the size differences is night and day different. As much as I liked Haynes Museum, I've noticed that the car park area was quite small, but here the Jaguar display is vastly immense, and there were a lot more variety to look at as well. And here we are with the Type 00, and I must say, here in the flesh, it does look very striking. It's not E-Type level pretty, but it's far from the worst I've seen. And from the front, it does have a very imposing front bonnet, despite its EV architecture, which I actually like the look of. If I had to be critical, is that the C-pillar looks a bit too Reliant symmetry. Fortunately, the production car will have a sloping C-pillar like the old XJ, and here's a snippet of what the camo car looks like. Now, this particular car is a clay model in London blue. There is a fully functioning one as well, but that is currently doing rounds around the world. And personally, I would have loved to see the Miami pink that they introduced when the car was unveiled. And in a way, it does have a very Range Rover-like presence with those massive wheels. And, well, due to how new this car is, and the fact it's not going to be in production, that's it for the overview. So here is the front of the Type 00. This is a clay model, so we can only see the exterior of this car. And it has a very fake-looking grille. They probably did this to fill in the gap. I think without the slats, the front end will look too anonymous. These are supposed to be the headlights of the car, and they are very squinty. Whether or not this will make it to the production car remains to be seen. As I've mentioned, it's got a very long bonnet, assuming this will either be the boot of the car or where the EV motors would have been. And there are some vents on the far end. Here's what the new Jaguar script looks like. So it's got a capital J and a lowercase r. And the reason they did this is that the R looks like an upside down J, and we'll get back to that later on. It does have a very smart looking lower splitter. But yes, judging by how expansive this part of the front bumper looks like, maybe there will be room for improvement. Maybe the lower quote-unquote intake will fill in that gap, but we'll all have to wait and see. Coming around, here are the aforementioned massive wheels. Not that this car is moving, but this car is wearing Pirelli P0s, and somehow this one does not have any valve stems on the wheels. But then again, this is a concept car. Now, I've mentioned about the J and the R. So if we look at the emblem here, this is going to replace the growler. It's called a medallion. And they designed it like that, so if I were to turn the camera upside down, it still looks the same. And I am a huge fan of the way these wheels look. And I think this wheel would look better with coloured calipers. Maybe colour code the calipers to the car. And here is the leaper. Whilst they've dropped the growler, the leaper is here to stay. And no matter which side you're looking at, the leaper is always facing to the front of the car. And this section also opens up to reveal a camera, sort of like a rear view mirror. This side skirt somewhat reminds me of my F-Type. And of course, there are no regular mirrors on this car either. Here's what the side profile looks like. Once again, it does remind me of a Reliant Scimitar. And I know the production car will have its C-pillar sort of sloped down longer, like on an XJ. Again, this is only a concept car, and it's only here to showcase what the future design will look like. Very angular rear mirror. I feel like this should have flown a bit more into the C-pillar, like so. But once again, I'm being very pedantic, and once again, this is only a concept car. Here's what the roof looks like. And there's no rear window. This was the angle that Jaguar first hinted the car at. It has a very wide haunch, and here's the back of the car. Again, it's got a slatted rear end, and the tail lights are supposed to hide within the slats. Similar to what the XJ220 had, albeit with visible tail lights. And once again, here is the script. But yes, this is probably my least favourite angle of the car. And there is no door handle, because this is an exterior only showcase. I would like to see the interior of this car as well. Also, this would be the passenger side, as I can just about tell that this is a left-hand drive example. Otherwise, I've heard they used wool seats, which is something that another luxury car manufacturer has chosen. Once again, the leaper is facing forward on this side as well. And that's just about it with the showcase. overall, I do think it's a very intriguing looking concept, though I do wish the back end was slightly redesigned, but the front I do like a lot. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching me talk about my thoughts on the Jaguar Type 00 concept. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you are new, ring the bell to stay up to speed, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers!